Rahul Magan here as the Chief Executive Officer of Treasury Consulting PT Limited, which is a Singaporean multinational group. And today topic of conversation is exactly opposite what we are generally not discussing. As you very well know that Treasury Consulting is a multinational company and we keep on adding a lot of things in our business portfolio. Like the yesterday video which we talked about SAP Treasury and Risk Management, where we are entering into, and you know that we have pretty good capabilities about ERP and TMS like Murex and all everything. Now we are entering into a system whereby we are entering into a domain which is of trillions of dollars. A domain which was reason for financial crisis, not financial crisis, which was reason for downturn somewhere in 2015. A domain which is currently in discussion nowadays when it comes to the oil. A domain which Standard Chartered Bank referred this as a super cycle. So according to Standard Chartered Bank, a super cycle comes after every 5 to 8 years. This is what Standard Chartered is saying. I am referring to a domain which is known as commodities. I do not know the exact business nature of the people, those who are watching this video, but whether you are a corporate, you are an individual, you are a retail client, or you are a multinational customer, or you are a trader, you yourself agree with the fact that we cannot live without commodities. And especially now, which is 31st May 2018, when oil is an issue. So on an often basis, oil is an issue. Commodities is an issue. Gold, silver, platinum, diamond, gold futures, and there are so many things. Unfortunately, when it comes to the commodities market, and especially when it comes to India, of course, this video has nothing to do with India, right? Unfortunately, when it comes to the commodities market, we have, I'm not saying we don't have multiple options, we do, but the three most prominent options which are coming in the mind, that which is LME, London Metal Exchange, CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and CBOT, Chicago Board of Trade. Two I mentioned here and one which is here, which is Chicago Mercantile Exchange, Chicago Board of Trade, London Metal Exchange. I went through the website of the London Metal Exchange several times because I started my life as a treasurer for foreign exchange, learned derivative, but you know, always wanted to be on the energy side of it. You know that energy play a very important role. Like if you talk about US, and I always very happy to quote an example for US in that regards. The largest energy derivative market of this globe is in US. In fact, it's not in Europe also. When we talk about carbon credits, it is the largest market is in Australia. It's nowhere else in this world. So commodity is a very big market. Of course, this is fragmented. Like one part, like take an example, the like in our currencies part, non-deliverable section is in Singapore. On the contrary, the crosses and all we have in US. Of course, I'm not saying Singapore and London do not have a share of crosses, but US predominantly would more have. When we talk about London Metal Exchange, we need to remember that there are three kind of participants who generally come. Fourth would also come. The first kind of participants which is covering is for the production programs. Example, ExxonMobil, the largest petrochemical company of the globe. Example, Unlocal. Example, Petronas. Example, Petrobras. Example, Reliance Industries Limited. And the list is pretty long. The company who have production plants, those who know that this much amount of commodity they are going to be produced, Vedanta, Crane, Shell, the list is pretty long. Of course, that is the right point of fact that India as an economy do not have a very good structure in commodities, but that doesn't mean that outside India we do not have a commodities market. We do. According to the website of the London Metal Exchange, the last year trading amount was $15 trillion. I hope you don't trust that. You have to visit their website and see. Their last trading amount, which is the last year trading which has happened, is $15 trillion, which is approximately equivalent to the United States GDP and roughly $2 trillion, something greater than the Chinese GDP, and approximately $5 trillion more than the so-called Japanese GDP, and roughly, if I would say that 4 times or roughly 3.5 to 4 times than the British GDP. This is the amount of trading only one institution has did in the last year, which is London Metal Exchange. If you're going to take all three, which is Chicago Board of Trade, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and London Metal Exchange, I think the amount would be several times than the US GDP, and maybe we need to add so many countries to make it equivalent to that amount. Now, there are so many types of asset classes they are dealt with too. They are dealt with. Example, they are dealing with the metals, they are dealing with the commodities, they are dealing with the ferrous metals, they are dealing with gold, silver, platinum, they are dealing with the oil futures. There are so many commodities they are dealt with too. Now, this is an introductory video. Of course, now we have entered into this platform also. We would be posting video like gold ETFs, we would be posting about silver ETFs, platinum, commodity prices, sugar, and all these kind of things which we keep on posting. Of course, I would like to take an indemnification and would like to tell you straight away that we won't be posting videos on small cap metals because we have a lot of topics to cover. So we would be posting videos about big metals. Right? From a derivative standpoint, LME offers these four. Example, LME futures, LME trade options, LME tapos, which is nothing but an option, LME monthly average options, LME minis, and LME mini futures. And all have a different way of permutations and combinations, how you will take a price on that. These basically the derivative instruments are further, they have a periodicity. Example, there are LME futures is a physically settled contract up to 3 months, daily to 3 months. On the contrary, you have weekly to 6 months contract, you have monthly to 123 months contract, you have cash settled up to 15 months contract. Now, the settlement date in commodities is known as reset date. Actually, commodities and foreign exchange have a lot of contradictions also. Like in foreign exchange, we use interest rate swap, and in interest rate swap, the meaning of the reset date means that the date at which you are resetting your liability. It could be LIBOR, Euribor, SONIA, or any other interest rate index, maybe SOFR nowadays. But here it is a different convention. So here they are referring to reset date. On the contrary, there are three kind of people, those who are generally participating in these exchanges. Number one is the production program, like we already discussed. Number two is the purchasing program. Example, Aramco, Saudi Aramco. I don't think this company needs any introduction. Apple. Now you must be thinking why Apple came. It's a technological company. Here is an example. This is an iPhone from Apple. I bought this phone paying approximately $2,000. Approximately 1800 something odd dollars in India. Now this, I'm not saying how much profit margin Apple do have in this, so on and so forth. That is not a point of contention here. But this was, some part is made in China, some part made in US, and everybody know that Foxconn is a leading vendor for Apple. Now Apple has given a right to Foxconn to produce. Of course, that doesn't mean that Apple don't keep an eye on check. They don't keep a quality check on that. Apple do. But Foxconn must be producing a huge component part in China or Vietnam or from the different exchanges of the globe. It could be LME also. Now, if you wanted to have a plastic, or if you wanted to have any kind of semiconductor or any other thing you wanted to have, there is nothing like LME. Or anything which is brass, which is copper, there is nothing like that. Or maybe let us take an example of a company like ABB. Or take any other Chinese company who is into electrical distribution business. In electrical distribution business, you need copper, or you need different kind of metals. From where you will take a position? There is none other than LME. Of course, local countries have their local exchanges also. I would again agree with the fact that in commodities market, not all the asset class behave in a similar metal. Example, CNG. In CNG is the most volatile commodity asset class we have in this globe. Similarly, like we have GBP and Euro in our currency. In our foreign exchange, we used to say that GBP and Euro can swing by more than 2 to 3 big figures in a day. One big figure refer to 100 basis point. And in CNG and in LNG, specifically in LNG, the traders are saying that it could swing anywhere, no matter what. You cannot predict. So somebody sitting in a different part of the globe would give a statement, maybe OPEC, Organization for Petroleum Exporting Country, World Energy Council, World Gold Council, or anybody pertaining to LNG, or any foreign minister of OPEC, they will give a statement and LNG and CNG will swing. or maybe demand size and supply side issues. Of course, they are always here. Third is the hedging P&L, like Reliance. Reliance Industries Limited prime motive is to make sure that they would be able to hedge their oil exposure in such a way that they won't lose it. Because they very well know that oil is swinging, like in the last several months we saw 26. Now we are roughly at 76, 77, and there are a huge amount of prediction. In fact, I am also upbeat. I am also of the view that boss, it will touch 120. All the good people have taken a very good positions, buy side positions at 26, like in this section, which is monthly 223 months. Of course, mark to market is there, that we would be covering, not to bother about in the later videos. They are gaining a huge amount of money, and all those who miss that opportunity, they would surely be losing it, no matter what. Again, the last, which is the cross hedge. Cross hedge is generally used in the petrochemical business and some metal business, whereby if you have some metal which you have a metal which is not a direct production. So just like in oil. In oil, there are so many commodities. There are so many outputs which are coming from the oil, which directly cannot be. Example, there is something which are coming out which directly cannot be priced. To get it priced, you need to use a cross hedge, right? This is also known as pseudo hedging, or also known as crack hedging, that we would also be covering. This is an introduction of the video. One of the very important thing which LME do have, which is London Metal Exchange do have, is that they do have their central counterparty, CCP. Of course, oil was an example. They do have CCP, which is central counterparty, which is known as LME clear. Nowadays, regulators are too much concerned about the central counterparty at the clearing of the derivative transaction. When we are talking about an institution who is approximately $15 trillion of trading hadn't happened last year, we need a central counterparty being owned by that institution. But at the same time, that doesn't guarantee that there is no systematic risk in the system. It has to be. It is the duty of the regulator to make sure that LME clear work in a proper way, and of course we are going to be covering a lot of things. This is all about Treasury Consulting LLP ventured into metal derivatives. Just like foreign exchange, you would be envisaging a lot of videos about gold futures, gold ETF, silver, platinum, diamond, Bitcoin, and oil, ferrous metals, and so many things. These all videos are on the way, and in case you have anything, you are welcome. My email ID rahul.magan@treasuryconsulting.in. Skype ID is rahul5327. Platform www.fixedincome.global. www.fixedincome.global. Our website www.treasuryconsulting.in. Mobile 9899242978. Thank you. And our next two videos would be covering about custodian business, where we are venturing into how exactly a custodian business work, and we would be covering about Sukuk bonds, how exactly Sukuk bond works, how to price it, and what are the issues which we have in that. Have a great time ahead. Enjoy your day. Thank you.